are live. I'm putting back the chat window. Beautiful. So hey everyone, I'll probably stay down here because camera is lower for today's posture clinic. So welcome to number 3 posture clinics, and what we're gonna stick to some resistance training, some strength training. And in the first one, as we were talking about the lower body, we were talking about the squats, your deadlifts and your lunges. Second one was all about the upper body in terms of the shoulders, your chest. Yeah, we did some bench press, shoulder work, biceps, triceps. So today, number 3, we'll go over the basic glutes. They are kind of tied up with the hamstring, so you will have lots of exercises what actually goes hand in hand. Hamstring is the back of the leg, and we go over the abs exercises what we do through the class. Now let me bring it even lower a little bit so you see what I got for you. So again, we're working with the stuff from our classes. So I've got some dumbbells. Dumbbells we can use also instead of the barbell. So I have the dumbbells. I have the squat bar, so it's the barbell. I also have a chair today because you know that we do lots of glutes through our bar. So there was some thrust and some lifts and some kickbacks on the chair. So we will go quickly over it as well. Got the Pilates ball. Pilates ball can be used also with the bar. So again, I'll just show a few things how you can tighten up more through the hamstring with the help of the ball. I will be using the resistance band, the long resistance band, and also we have the loopy one, the round ones. So that's really like all what you need. So that's the loopy one. Any types of resistance, obviously stronger resistance band, stronger resistance, stronger workout. Also lately it's quite popular everywhere are these material one. So it's slightly better than the rubber one. It's coming in a few different resistances as well. So what it does, like when you put it around it, it's a strong resistance, but they don't roll up. Where these ones tend to roll up, but advantage of these ones are you can actually nicely use it for a stretching as well. And I got my step because on our latest choreography with the pump lift shape, we were using the step for the hip thrust. Good. So that's all what you need for today, and perhaps a mat. Yeah, I got the mat here as well, as we will go over some core and abs exercises. Again, I'm going to encourage the good alignment so you get the most out of the class. So, welcome. I know lots of you watching these on a replay. So, I again highlight this as always. I'm highlighting all of these posture clinics so it stays there. You always can come back into it if you're not sure. So let's start exactly with what we're doing in the pump class, and it's gonna be your hip thrust. So starting with your glutes, shouldn't take longer than half an hour, maybe even shorter, all will be done. So for the hip thrust, right, you do want to be elevated. Now, as I said, it doesn't matter if you don't have a home step, you can do it off the chair as well. It's just because it's higher, it's much more difficult to bring the barbell on you. Now, if you do have a step, we use both. We use the barbells and dumbbells. So just we'll go over the technique so you know correctly. You bring in your shoulder blades on a step. Now you can start from the floor. Obviously, if I would have the Olympic bar, it's much easier because that one you can slide with these big weights on it over your hip. Now with your barbell, you need to actually lift it up. So that's slightly disadvantage of these small class barbells. Now I'm coming up, right, with the, let's say we talk about a brass strap. Now this will also depend on the length of your torso. right? So anything I do, if I do privately with my clients, I first check the anatomy and the predisposition of the body, right? So you would come up, I'm going about the bra strap, maybe a little bit lower. Now what we're watching, angle of the feet. I'm gonna support my head for now. Now the angle is very important, right? Because the moment I bring my heels, as you see, I call it the undershoot, so the knees are in front. The way how I thrust, it's going a lot through my quadriceps, through top of my legs. Other way around, if people are too far forward, then when you're lifting up, then mostly this first half of the hamstring is hitting. It's for you very hard from the step to really get into your butt, into your glutes. So therefore, I would come into the perfect alignment of the knee with the heel. Again, this could be individual, but just as a rule of a thumb. So when I'm pressing up from the bottom, I have the same press as we do in our Pilates from the sole, whole sole of the foot, the heels and the ball. Now, in terms of the bar, you're holding the bar, right? If it's heavy, you're working from the hip. That's why it's called hip thrust. It's one of the most probably effective exercise for the glute, what you can find. Very careful, you don't want to go in your lower back. So when I'm thrusting, I'm keeping the bottom rib closed. On an inhale, I go down in that easier variation. On an exhale, I would drive it from the heel, tight up, squeeze my glutes. So very much your posterior tilt, what we're doing in a Pilates. So I want to tight up, I want to curl through the coccyx without going into the lumbar sacral area. Common mistake is people start looking back, opening up the chest, not holding the core, so they're coming in a back bend. So they end up thickening up their waist or injuring that lower back because they're pushing it up here. Yeah, now that's why I want to keep the head actually in the C curve. So I'm bringing chin to the chest, what allows me to gently curve the spine on the top and prevent that back bend. Now, in our class, you know that if you have a neck issue, I do always encourage you to support the head. So coming into the strong contraction. Now, the more you squeeze the glute and hamstring, stronger resistance you're gonna get. So it's very important. I've seen in a gym to people load the bar, the girls load the bar to 150 kilos. Unless you're going for a strongman competition, there's no need, because the glute's not gonna get the contraction. You will be holding it through the legs, through the back, but the ultimate squeeze of your bum is not gonna happen, so you're gonna be offsetting it in a different body part. So I've seen even professional, like a world-class bikini girls, not thrusting with more than 70 kilos, right? So less in a good form with the precise contraction, with that extra hold, with time under tension, right? We said the slower the muscle goes, the longer the muscle under tension, they are contracting, stronger resistance you create, right? So that would be basic of your hip thrust. Now, as per variation, obviously variation would be with a different stand. I bring the barbell down. If you guys going with the dumbbells, remember with our class, we first actually coming up because the dumbbells otherwise would slide. Come on your bra strap, load your barbells, working here. It's slightly bit more challenging obviously with the dumbbells to get that weight, but once you have it adjust through that rib cage, you're nicely pushing up. So we said variation. So there will be a difference if my legs are straight on, the same as we said in a squatting, or if my legs are wide and in a turnout. The moment I'm wide in a turnout, we know that stability comes a bit more from that inner outer thigh. We start working a bit more into the glute minimus medius side of the butt. The key to have a perfect glutes is to train them from as many angles as possible. So we actively working on that all three major muscles, glute minimus, glute medius, glute maximus, right? So it's that part of the booty and side. What creates the ultimate roundness was not just for the good looks. Your glutes support you in any exercise. It's a big muscle group. If you run, if you jump, if you do any sport, the glutes are there. Plus, they support stability of the pelvis. So we see often, right, there is a twist, rotation, problems with the sacroiliac joints. That's those two joints, soft joints here. They are so soft, it's almost like a cartilage, very easy to go. So especially when you have a hypermobile sacroiliac joint. I'm not sure some of you do who are watching. It's the best way how to keep it protected is to strengthen the glute, still stretch after the workout so it holds the pelvis where it needs. How other ways besides you're going in a different rotation, different step, I can challenge the work with the bends. So if we're gonna be working as well, so what can happen, I say, okay, bring the bands on. So what the bands does, especially when you're pushing the legs, I can work both muscles together. So we can be working your glute max and glute minimus medius simultaneously because I come down here, my legs are straight as normal, but because I need to push the knees out of the alignment, out to the side, that's already getting the workout through the outer thigh as well and the outer part of your booty. So same would apply, right? So the bend, just make it kind of hitting the two birds with one stone. I don't want to hit any bird. That's not very good comparison, but you know what I mean. So again, tougher the bend, tougher it gets. So very similar movement to this one is your glute bridge. So people confuse these ones. So one is thrust, one is bridge. Now, especially when I elevate my legs, the glute bridge can get slightly more in that upper part of my glute, of the glute max. Again, I'm just being very particular. So if I would do personal training session, I check how the bum looks like and exactly what is undeveloped and what is overdeveloped or what needs slightly bit of tweaking. So for that, you lying down, right? We're doing it often, so we're lying down from the floor. So that's the difference, right? Your bridges are from the floor, your thrust is when you elevate it. Let me bring it a little bit lower. Good. So same rule, right? If I would have a barbell, I would go barbell. If I have a dumbbells, putting dumbbells. So if you lie down, very much we're doing this on our Pilates, just without the weight. So again, I would keep the alignment. So now I would not go directly same to the glute because you push up, drive it from your quadriceps. So again, find the right place where if I come up, I will go now a little bit closer, I feel it directly through my bum, right? The difference between your pelvic curl in Pilates and your glute bridge is in a pelvic curl, we're going in a C curve up. Here, I would just directly push the pelvis up, tight up through the butt, tight up through the hamstring, right? So same as with the previous one, if I bring the bend, make it both sides work evenly. If I'm rotating, if I'm going in wide, I'm going slightly further out. If I squeeze my legs together, there would be good engagement also from the inner thigh. How else I can make it more difficult is by elevating the legs. So we will be doing it in the different class. So what I would do, if I elevate my legs, could be on a step, right? Same would apply, it would be tougher. I can go through the foot or I can just come up onto the heel, lift up. We do often this one in a bar with your chair. So each time, what is important to remember, the moment I thrust up, I keep that little posterior tilt, tight up the butt, but holding my abs strong so the spine stay nice and neutral, right? Very important. You don't want to go through the back bends. Always work and have that mind muscle connection to muscle group, what you want to work. Good. So, bringing the dumbbells. Dumbbell or your band, doesn't matter which one. We know here we're working isolation. So only one joint is usually moving. So we're getting a bit more into the muscle in precision. Few variations. So again, we had sometimes the bands, sometimes we have a dumbbell or we have nothing. If we have a dumbbell, that's what we're gonna do in our next choreography, so I will demonstrate. You're bringing the dumbbell behind the knee, you wanna squeeze it in. The moment I squeeze the dumbbell behind the knee, I get the nice connections to the hamstring, to the glute. So you have either donkey kicks or hydrants. Again, we said I'm staying just with the basics, so it doesn't take too long. If you're working your donkey kick, you're going straight up. So I would be on my forearms, flexing the foot, coming up. Why to flex the foot? Again, the moment I would point my toes, I would start bringing some of the energy through my shin. I want to keep everything through the back. So flexing the foot, pressing of the hand, reaching up. Now, another common mistake with the donkey kick is that people start externally rotating the hip. So it's going somewhere else. So if I want to directly hit my glute max, I'm concentrating on keeping the hip down, weight spread evenly, and my core would be nicely stabilizing the movement. So the common mistake, another here, I see people doing this. So they're working from the waist, they're doing this, especially ladies in a gym. You need to brace your core. No movement there, we isolating, we gliding just from the hip. So you're coming up, flex your foot, you reach up, slowly coming down. I don't need to go all the way up. I go to the point where is my range of movement. If I would go higher up, I would start probably arching, or I need to go lower with the weight. That's another thing. If people load it too heavy, the form is not there, you're not hitting the full range of movement, you're not reaching the full contraction of your butt. So in that point, for me, I would definitely go with a smaller weight. The second one, so that would be your glute max. Then we have that roundness, right side, the minimus medius would be your hydrants. Call it hydrants because doggy pee on a hydrant, that's why it's called hydrant, right? So it's your adductions. So we're going out to side, yeah, hitting the side of the butt and coming back. This can be again done with your belt, or it can be done with the dumbbell, or just with your own tension. Now look at the angle where I kick. So again, I go through the common mistake, people start kicking here. So I'm jamming it exactly in a hip and not much is coming through my glute. So I want to keep the leg slightly diagonal. So I'm going maybe 45 degrees back. So that's where I want to feel it. I want to feel that it's hitting right there. That's why it's going away from the body, yeah? Like that. So opening the wing, but opening your leg. Make sure you're not dropping on one side. Yeah, this is another common mistake, that people just completely offsetting the weight into their standing hip rather than the working leg. Then you need to go with a lower weight. You want to have a strong core, both hips align, and then I would be going diagonal nicely in that hold squeeze and with control coming down. Good. Last bit. What we're doing, oh yeah, I said with the ball. So with the ball, instead of very similar, right, just instead of dumbbell, the ball here is behind the leg and it's going for exactly the same situation. It just we use it with the Pilates and a bar, but mostly with Pilates, as we don't work that much with the dumbbell. So what the ball does, it pushes you to maintain that contraction, right? And as we said, time under tension, so the longer you need to squeeze, the tougher it's gonna get. So it's a good way how to learn to keep the muscle engaged without putting any extra resistance. If I want you to work just with the body weight, but I want to make sure you're not cheating, I would use the ball because that needs to be held. Nice. So the last bit here, what we're doing here, very quickly we go over. We were working, it was in the last choreography as well, last bar, with the chair. So we're coming into the kickbacks with both legs. So remember, when you're going over the chair, you need to keep the hips slightly free, so you're working into it, right, from the bum. Because very common mistake is people think squat is the exercise for your butt. Squat is actually exercise for your legs, really. The glutes working, but every time you're bending the knee, we're working mostly the legs. Rule of thumb, the more I hinge the hip, the more I will be working hamstring and glutes. So you want to have free the hip again, so that would be the same movement as we did with the dumbbell, but we do the bilaterally with both legs together, and you gliding again from that hip socket. That's where you're going over the chair, you hold on over the couch, anything. Starting, if you want to go for the glute max, we're keeping the feet, legs, hips distance apart. I'm driving it up only to the point where I don't feel it in my lower back. So again, is that full contraction from the butt and the hamstring to elevate. I'm pulling my abs in. I still use the Pilates breathing, actually with this one, to protect my lower back. As I do have many injuries through my spine, right, I keep it extra safe. But you do want to have your core very much active, because if you let go of your abs and lift your legs, you will end up in a back bend, and that's what you don't want. So keeping spine neutral, don't pick up or like hanging down. So I'm keeping the spine neutral and just working from the hip. The second variation, if we go more, glute minimus medius, inner outer thigh, so I would keep my legs in a turn out, then it's your froggies. Yeah, very much again, we were doing this one lying down as well, and it's your frog pumps, so we will go through the side. Nice. So that's your basic of the booties. If you guys have any questions, even that you watch it on a replay, text me, write me. Very quickly, you are all very professional with the abs, so I go over quick abdominal work. So we have two probably major abs core work, and I do divide it in your core work, where we're using a core muscle, the tiny muscles, yeah, your belt, and then on the other side we have abs. So if somebody wants six pack, the core exercise are not bad, make you strong, but doesn't necessarily give you the six pack breaks, right? Unless you really decrease your fat percentage to very low, and then you see the shape of your rectus abdominis, of the major muscle. So my trick is, if you want to have that shape of the six pack, you need to thicken up your abdominal wall. How I thicken up my abdominal wall? By increasing the muscle mass. So you do need some extra weight. So if I would have somebody who would say to me, I don't need six pack, I want a small waist, I would rather work on the core exercises and maybe avoiding the obliques, yeah, the ones for the side of the tummy, so I don't thicken the waist. If I have a client that said, no, I want a six pack, we're going with the heavier weight and we try and really hold the contraction. Weight or no weight, the key is to hold the contraction to get into the depth of the muscle. So let's start with your six pack, just the basic. You don't need much. The basic would be your pretty much just a crunch. Weight or no weight. If I would go no weight, we know we're doing it often. You lift up, coming down. What are the common mistakes? People think the higher they come, the more abs will work. That's not true. The abs usually work just into that 30-degree angle. So if you're going to start pushing your neck or like pulling from the back, it doesn't give you anything more in terms of the abdomen. So I'd rather would be pushing head in my hands and think of that nice C curve by contracting the abs just up to here and hold. Yeah, that definitely will give you more of the definition. Now, if you're bringing the weight to it, the common mistake would be the moment the weight comes back, people open up the ribs. Can you see the back bend? Now I can slide the whole hand under. So I really want to close the bottom rib when my arms are back, and that means that I'm holding the abs on way back as well as on way up, right? Shoulders there, staying away from it. And again, I'm curling just up to that 30 degrees and holding the contraction. Arms coming only as far back till my abs can hold it. Yeah, don't go all the way and try to rest and stretch your abs. That means you're holding it in your back. Once the weight will be bigger, you definitely will end up with some injury. How can we make it harder, right? We always going in a tabletop. That's what we had even in our pump class. So you're lifting up and coming down. Again, the difference is the moment you lift your legs, right, already the lower abs are working as well because you want to imprint. You want to push that middle back down to floor. If you're not holding your abs all the time on the way up and down when the legs are up, there will be aspect where the back is pulling it on the way down. So constantly pulling through the lower rib cage, I will be lifting up, coming down. That's why the legs up are tougher, because my abs are in a constant tension. There is no rest compared to when I bring my legs down. You have to keep it safe. Good. Now, same apply. So you're going directly, right? We said, so you have the top of the abs. The other one would be the moment you leave your legs up or anywhere forward, it's already the bottom of the abs are working. Now the last bit you have at the obliques, yeah, the side. Now again, that's for example what we're gonna be doing in the next class, and I want you to go over it, is your Russian twist. Now in a gym you see this for the Russian twist. Again, I come from the injury background, so I tell you it's no point for you to go all the way down. Why? I don't need, because I know my oblique side of the abdomen works 30 degrees or 35 degrees. So if I don't want to work on the range of movement or on my functional training, there's a different story. If I purely want to work just for my abs, I would be going side hold, nicely stop it in that 30-degree angle and lock it in. So truly squeeze so you feel like a dent on the top of the rib cage. Same rules would be if I would go for the cross crunch, right? So if I would go from one side to another side, again, elbows are open, just working on the top of the rib cage, no need to go far. Same when we go with Pilates or any rotation, when you go side to side, again, functional training, maybe I would go all the way down. If I want to train my obliques, I don't need. I imprint my back, push the shoulder blades down to the floor. I'm stopping just in that 30 degrees. If we're gonna have, after we're gonna have our posture clinic for Pilates, you know, this is your pendulum, so we work there. So just a rule of thumb, each time you want to work your obliques, think of that 30 degrees, no need to over twist it, right? We just want to get on the top of each rib cage. Beautiful. Core work. Oh, last bit, lower abs, right? Anything when we do, remember lowering the legs. What's the key? Not to open up the bottom rib. So You're going only as low till I still can push the middle back down to the floor. It's much more productive for you to keep your lower abs on and go 30, 45 degrees and keep coming up with your abs than to come down and open up. Yeah? So rule of thumb for your lower abs, keep it in the lower abs. Have that mind-muscle connection when I'm pulling it from the back. I need to speed it up. We're going over the time, but we are almost there. The last bit is your core work. So core, we said it's your belt. So it's not necessarily just the front. It's your front, it's your side, it's your back. So when we working core, usually we're going into the planks. Careful, even when we have the yoga, I sometimes say plank and people drop the hip. This is not plank. Yeah, because again, I'm going in my back bend, so I would lift myself up to the neutral spine. Even gently do that posterior tilt, so squeeze the bum, tuck the pelvis under, so I know that for sure it's all locked in into that belt. So any sort of plank, you want to keep your wrist, elbow, shoulders aligned. We can just fly over this as we will go through this movement also with Pilates and yoga. If you're in your forearms, remember I want to keep my elbow aligned with the shoulder. Again, not lifting butt up in a dolphin, because then you're locking it in your shoulder, not dropping down in the lower back. So maintain the plank of wood aspect, tug your tail. You want to make it harder, hold it with more weight forward. Therefore, I'm keeping more resistance on the core area. If we're coming side plank, same rules apply. Yeah, you're going up and down, you're thrusting up. I'm trying to stack the hip on top of each other. Again, shoulder, wrist, elbow, one straight line coming up. You this time thrusting from the waist. Again, lots of people pull or work from the shoulder. I'm keeping myself nice lifted, ear away from the shoulder. So my core work here would be lifting the hip up to create, yeah, the work from the side. The last bit, your core work, when we do the back part, and there's your reverse plank. So if you want to do core work, the same like when you do glute work, you not do just the front on, you want to work all the way around. Yeah? Unlike when you do your rectus abdominis, which this muscle is the long muscle alongside your abs. Core is around, many muscles. So, if you go in reverse, whatever I do, either is the reverse plank, think of the area what you want to engage. Yeah? So it's the area still of the waistline, not go in a back bend. So either reverse planks, or you can use any of these lifts. Now when we're lifting up, this is the last bit and then we are done. When I lift up, remember again, engage through that abdominal area. So I pull my navel in, thrust the pelvis down, posterior tilt, contract my glutes. So I'm starting in the neutral spine. And then I elevate up and I try stretch forward and up. So rather than going all the way up to really create a strong contraction on your lumbar area, middle back, I would suggest you to first stretch forward and back, and then stretch from the front, contract in the glutes. So you work in the core area from the back. So we do a few variations. So either this one, we do swimming, but the most important thing is that setup. Yes, so you can't start completely relaxed and then just jam it up. It will go directly to the back. So lengthen, pull your abs in, tuck your pelvis under, contract the glute, and then lift and lengthen. And you can hold, and then you work on the area around the waist. So for those who really wants to make the waist smaller, it's usually, if I have a clients who compete in bikini, I am careful also of the core work or any of the abdomen work, because we need to keep the waist very small. So again, The way how you train or what you want to do will depend on your goal, what you're trying to achieve, and what you're coming in the game with. Hey, so if you have any questions regards anything of we did today, let me know. We need to finish now because there is a Zoom Pilates time. So, right, ask. I have no problem to answer the question. It's better to ask 3 times and do it right than to feel embarrassed to ask and injure yourself or perhaps not achieve the results you want. That's the most common thing. Lots of girls training glutes. I see them to train them for a year, for 2, and there is no results because there is no understanding of the right biomechanics or of their own anatomy or of the time under tension. They might be overloading unnecessary, right? So if you struggle, don't forget to ask. So looking forward to see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. We have our meditation and it's for your sacral chakra. Last full week before I have a holiday next week. So you will have everything on the replay. All of you who subscribe, you know you can come back to the classes and you can always ask. So have a good evening, everyone. Bye.